Well, hey everyone, I want to welcome you to this version of the Whole Care Community Check-In. We are joined with my wife, Becky, and my good friend, JM. And what we want to do with these check-ins is just remind you that God has made you a whole person. He's given you a soul, but he's given you a body and a mind and relationships, and he's given you purpose. And we want you to press into those during the season where we're all staying at home a little bit. And we want to encourage you. I don't know about you, but in our house, we're feeling a little bit stir crazy right now, and it's the newness has worn off. And so today's going to be a fun kind of dive into just some options for you. But Becky, would you lead us off with just maybe a verse that you could read over us to give us some perspective today?
Yes, this is from Lamentations 3. My soul is downcast within me, and yet this I call to mind, and therefore I have hope. Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed, for his compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. I say to myself, the Lord is my portion, and therefore I will wait for him. The Lord is good to those who hope in him, to the one who seeks him. It is good to wait quietly for the salvation of the Lord.
Amen. And that's what we're doing. We're kind of in a waiting time here. And so one of the things we thought would be useful today on Friday to just give you some fun ideas and some recommendations to do while we're in a little bit of a holding pattern here. We're all waiting for when it's going to end. But we also want to connect with God and we want to connect with each other. So first challenge I want to give you is this. I've gotten so many great emails from Pulpit Rock folks, and one of them came from Sandy Swinford, who's been going to our church for a while. And she said this last night she got a text from a neighbor down the street. She invited 8 neighbors to a Zoom call. This is what we're doing today. Zoom is so easy to figure it out. Anybody can do it. Everyone is doing it these days. But her neighbor basically just got on, I assume, paper invites or something like that, got everybody on this Zoom call. She said, we just shared about our lives, exchanged movie ideas, listened to challenges some face, some have kids at home, kids home from college, older parents, quite a variety of challenges. But most of all, we felt connected. And as the meeting came to an end, the offer to lend a hand with each other was genuinely given. And she threw this out, and I thought, gosh, what a great idea, especially for our church at Pulpit Rock. She said, what if we did a challenge to Zoom call your actual neighbors? She said she got to know neighbors like one street over that she'd never met before, and just you could just hand out invites to everyone on your cul-de-sac, everyone on your street, and just Zoom call your actual neighbors. And it's a good excuse to get to know them a little bit. And so I thought, what a great idea. I wanted to pass that on from Sandy Swinford. That is the challenge. And if you do it, let us know how it goes. We'd love to hear back from you. Email us at Pulpit Rock. All that stuff's online. But what I'm most excited about is our special guest, JM DeFoggi. JM, it's so good to see you. Becky, why is JM here? Introduce JM for us.
Well, you might recognize JM's voice. He is the voice of and brain behind our podcast. And JM he's multiple things. He's a theologian. He's an all-around Renaissance man, and he loves games. And not only does he love games, he's actually a game maker. He is kind of an incredible human being if you haven't gotten to know him. So we're borrowing his brain and his passion right now for games. And I guess what we're wondering, JM, is there a way, how do we connect what's happening in our minds and bodies and our spirits with the gaming world or games in general?
Well, I think I will try and be succinct because, well, first of all, thank you for the introduction. That was $100 well spent on my part. So I think that games speak to us on a number of levels. And I think like board games are one of the few things that we still do where it brings us to a table. Maybe not right now, but like in general, we get together and we play games. That is something that in today's day and age, we don't do a lot. And I also love role-playing games. That's kind of where my design and my passion is. And I think that for those, there's another layer to that because Tolkien talked a lot about sub-creation, that we have this, are inherently storytellers because our God is a storyteller.
Mm.
And that for him, in creating Middle Earth, that was one of the ways he felt closest to God. And I think that there is something special about coming to a table and telling stories together. The example, I think I used this with you when you guys tried out my game, right? The difference between a board game and a role-playing game is you may look back on that Risk game and be like, you remember when I beat you, Jonathan, with those 3 6s. But when you play a role-playing game together, there's this idea of Jonathan saved my character from the ogre. Like there's this shared memory that happened in your minds. You think back and there's no separation there. There is the memory of Jonathan saving you from the ogre. There's this holistic memory that we develop in this shared experience that only happens to those people who are around the table at that point.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I continue to do it. That's why I'm a big advocate for it. That's why I'm designing them. So
I love that. And if you don't know JM, he writes role-playing games. His wife edits them. Those shelves behind you are full of games and books. And
they are.
JM shelves are equally full of games and theological books. That's what I love about it.
Yes. I have the most eclectic bookshelf that I know.
It's amazing. So JM, go ahead, Becky.
I was just going to ask if you had any recommendations for maybe some novices to games or ideas of games that would be accessible for people in the Pulpit Rock community.
Yes. So if you are looking at just getting together, and so board games are great because families can just, if you're stuck in the house, they give you something to do. Some great games that I would recommend, Codenames, which I know is a big hit in the Cleveland household.
Hold it up, Becky. We've got that one.
We love that game.
And there's very little overhead for that game. You're basically looking at a bunch of pictures or words and trying to form connections. If you want something a little more robust, Settlers of Catan and Carcasone are two, we call them, and I say we because my friend Cam runs Petrie's Family Games, and so he's big into board games, and they're the gateway games. Everyone's sort of heard of these things, and Catan and Carcassonne are great entry-level games. If you've never played anything except something that has Milton Bradley on the side, these are really great games to sort of get into.
Okay.
And then, go ahead, sorry.
Oh, I was going to ask, are they kind of a gateway game?
They're a gateway game. That's what we call them. I didn't know if I should go down that path, but yeah, they're definitely gateway games.
Okay.
And then the last one that I'd really recommend is if you want something a little bit more strategic, something that takes maybe more like an hour and a half to 2 hours to play, Lords of Waterdeep is really my go-to game. My wife and I, we've had it almost 9 years, and it's still our number one game to bring to the table. It's a worker placement game, which basically means you want to do 12 things, but you can only do 3 of them. And if someone else takes that spot, you have to come up with a new plan. And so you play over 8 rounds, and you're just trying to accumulate as many victory points as possible. And there's a little bit of intrigue and backstabbing that's always a lot of fun. And yeah.
Great.
That sounds fun. There's nothing like backstabbing in a game.
No. So if you're looking for physical games, Petrie's is a local store. Cam is setting up a web store right now. They are doing hands-free delivery. So if you order something from them, they will bring it to your house and ring your doorbell and ditch, so that there's no interaction between people. You can go to their website, which Jonathan has just brought up, or you can give them a call. Their information is on the store. And if they can't get it for you, or if they don't have it, they will direct you to where you can get it. Like Cam's heart is just to make sure people are playing games. And he wanted me to let you know that they're currently updating all of the pictures. So know that the website is under construction, but they're moving forward from that.
This
now,
is also one of the things we care about is supporting local businesses. It's so hard right now for a lot of these small businesses. So Petrie's Games is a great place if you call them. If you want to try out a game, they are your go-to place.
They really are. Now, if you're looking for something online, there's a great website called Tabletop Simulator. You do have to pay for them, but it's actually cheaper than buying the board games. And with Zoom and Tabletop Simulator, you can play board games at your house. Basically, if Jonathan bought one of the games and invited us all to play, like if he bought Wings, he's the only person that needs to have Wings. We would all just, or Wingspan, I should say. He would be the only person who needs to buy it. And it's not a computer game. It's literally just all of the components. You still have to know how to play the game, but you can move pieces on the board and place pieces, and it'll deal out cards, and only you can see the cards unless you share them with others. So it kind of has the virtual experience about being around the table.
That's great.
If you're looking to get into sort of more of those storytelling games, I do know that like sites like Roll20.net or Fantasy Grounds, you can play them right now. They have a lot of free content. I do know that Amazon and Petrie's both carry what are called starter boxes. One of the ones I have is a Starfinder starter box, and it comes with everything you need to play. It comes with characters, a intro adventure, and they sort of guide you through how to engage in these more storytelling or role-playing style games. I know the D&D Essentials box is brilliantly put together and very easy to use. Starfinders is great. Pathfinders is great. Yeah. Mine's not out, so you can't do that. But
yeah,
someday,
eventually we'll get to next pandemic. We will recommend your game. But
yes. I hope there's not a next pandemic.
Well,
but.
Me too. It's not fair that we've gave you like 10 minutes to talk about a subject that you're so passionate about. So I apologize for that.
I tried to keep it.
Hey, I do want to give a recommendation as we're wrapping up. And my recommendation this week is something that JM has been working on for us for the last few months, and that is our Pulpit Rock podcast. I don't know if you have checked out the Pulpit Rock podcast yet, but it is worth checking out. This is called Welcome to the Table. I'm sharing, this is the media podcast tab on our website. JM and Thomas have done a number of seasons. They did a season on the Bible, a season on parenting, and they've just released season 3 and season 4. Do you want to tell us about those 2 seasons, JM?
Sure. So season 3 is all on the topic of scent. It is what kind of Christ said that as he was sent, he sends us out. And so there are just, I think there are three main arcs, people talking about how they've been sent to help others kind of find themselves. We did 2 episodes on the Ask a Mom program that was just fantastic. Yeah. And then we talked with Luke and Brian about sort of them building beds and why that is being sent for them. And then season 4 is on spiritual formation, and the first 2 episodes are Thomas and I just talking about what it means to us, what we think spiritual formation is. We have a 2-part episode on formation and family. We have an entire episode on Sabbath, which was really important. Yeah.
I love it. That's so good. And if you haven't listened to those first 2 seasons, I encourage you to listen to those. Really helpful and a great chance to hear from other people at Pulpit Rock. So great thing to do with all of your free time or with a little bit of that extra free time that you have. We also want to check in with a Pulpit Rock family right now. And we got a video sent to us from the LaPlante family, Parker LaPlante. There's a character in our kids ministry, Chinzy. And the challenge was thrown out to the kids to make a Chinzy video. And this is, if I can share it here, this is Parker LaPlante with a visit from Chinzy.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. This is where we do amazing things. First up, we have the magic moving coins. The coins will move through the air magically. And now we have the blur of nothing. Right. Bye-bye.
Oh, man. I don't totally understand it, but I love our kids. They're having so much fun. It's so great. Hey, Becky, will you close us with just a blessing over this community?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you, be gracious unto you, and bring you peace now and forever. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. I want to remind you, online, there's all sorts of resources. You can request prayer. Someone will call and pray with you. You can give. You can find some of the stuff that we've been talking about, the podcast. All that stuff is online. Sunday, we're going to be live at 9 and 10:30 with our worship services. Excited to jump into a new series looking at those scenes where Jesus, after he's risen from the dead, but before he goes ascends into heaven, he has these conversations, and we're going to look at those over these next 4 weeks. So join us from that. But most importantly, what we want you to hear is this, is God created you to be a whole person. And so press into that. Your life is not on hold. Press into who God created you to be. It's good being with you. I love you people. I'll see you soon.